Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. Today I want to tell you a tale of two clients, a tale of a client who is very successful. I feel like everything he touches turns to gold. And some people might say to someone like that, gee, you're lucky. A really successful entrepreneur, like a 7-figure entrepreneur, said to me once, the smarter and the harder I work, the luckier I seem to get. Hopefully you can see the lesson there. So a tale of two clients where the second one is someone with really common struggles, right? And I really want to help you to do better in business by giving you examples of what successful people do, okay? I'll rinse and repeat because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Success leaves clues, my friends. And so does failure. And do you know what? We are all finding various degrees of success and failure in our business and in our lives every day of the week, right? But it has also been said, which is so true. Do you know, I think of this all the time. It's a mistake the first time and it's a choice the second. And so today, I'd like to help everyone make better choices to do better in business by learning what other people are doing to do better in business as well.
For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes or visit betterinbusiness.global. You've tuned into Better in Business with Jeannie. As an award-winning strategic bookkeeper and business veteran, I am dedicated to helping entrepreneurs learn, grow, and prosper. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules, play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar one for the success of any business is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping. If your books are not right up to date, tune into episode 1, please. You can also get in touch with me if you'd like some help.
Okay, my friends, let's jump in. I was chatting to a lovely prospective client the other day who I have helped before. Now, previously when I had helped him, and we were helping him with basic bookkeeping, okay, which I also call Numbers 101. And just in case you haven't listened to a lot of my podcasts or seen much of my stuff, Numbers 101 is up-to-date, accurate accounting records, and it's the first step, right? But what you do with those numbers is where the magic is, okay? So successful business owners know and use their numbers, and so it's going beyond Numbers 101 that turns that bookkeeping cost into an investment. So I was chatting to this lovely business buddy / prospective client, right? And just talking about where they're at right now. And looking at their business, they've got a lot of ATO debt, so that's taxation office debt, so much so that I did immediately refer them to our insolvency partner, De Jong Reed, and hopefully they can intervene and help on that front. But how does a business get into taxation debt in the first place? Well, if we're talking about the basics of the numbers, like you've got those up-to-date accurate accounting records, but if you don't understand what it all means and then actually make decisions in your business, including around how to manage taxation debt and everything else based around the results in your numbers, based around how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash, well then one of the things that happens is that you end up in a lot of debt and oftentimes without even realizing it. So this particular client had decided to try and avoid the bookkeeping cost, right? And I get it. You know what? Even for me, I'd rather not pay for bookkeeping, right? And I am a registered VAS agent and an exceptional bookkeeper, but I don't do my books myself, okay? Because I do believe that it is not the best job that a business owner can do. So understandably, he didn't really want to incur the cost of bookkeeping, so off he went and tried to do it himself with his wife, and he thought, this can't be that hard, we'll do it ourselves. Now, some years later, they've come back to us. I feel that it is absolutely a testament to the service that we offer, that clients who do leave us, it's always on good terms, and oftentimes they do come back. So these clients left, and in the end they realized they needed a little bit of help, so they reached out to probably what was a bit of a friend, and they got what they thought was some help. But they've finally found their way back to us because the service that they got from this friend, even though this friend was a taxation accountant, an accountant, they were never on time with any of the lodgements. They ended up with fines. They didn't know where they were at, and they were just not getting the service that they wanted. So they found their way back to us. And when I look at their situation, there's a lot to tackle. So the first thing we always do is to get an understanding of where the accounting file's at. And when we did that, it's an absolute mess, right? So one of the things that has to be tackled is the fact that the numbers are not accurate, and therefore anything that comes out of that file, so garbage in, garbage out. So that would be anything reported to the taxation office, the profit and loss, all of those things are at risk of being wrong. So in our opinion, we would say the first job is to rectify those numbers and get them accurate, right? And then the other thing is, like I mentioned a moment ago, the taxation debt is a result of the business not being profitable enough. So there's profit and cash problems, and that would need to be tackled second, okay? And with the help of someone like Dijon Reed, look, they may close up that entity and they may open up another entity, and back to it's a mistake the first time, it's a choice the second. What we'd love to do in that situation is have the client trust us and lean into the process and allow us to support them to build a thriving, profitable, cashed up business, okay? And everything begins and ends with the numbers, whether we like it or not. So I was chatting to this client, and I could tell that even though he wants help, he is resistant. And I can't tell you that I fully understand why, but I am certainly seeking to understand why. Usually in these situations, it's about time or money. And often, as I said before, with the bookkeeping, it comes back to it's a grudge purchase I'd rather not do without, and I want to try and just, not have to pay for it or look for the cheapest service, which is in complete contradiction to what we know about pillar one for success. And that leads me closer to the tale of the second client, because I deeply, my heart's desire is to help business owners, right? And when I can't help someone, but I know I can, but for whatever reason they don't proceed with my recommendations, I get frustrated and I try and reflect on what the missing piece of the puzzle is that would help them to get over the line and let me help them in the same way that I help many other clients. So I was kind of thinking, well, I guess if you value up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping records, then you're going to be like, hell yeah, I trust you, Jeannie, get it done, and then tell me what else I need, okay? I thought, okay, well, if a client values up-to-date, accurate accounting records, then they are going to value us. If they don't value up-to-date, accurate accounting records because maybe I haven't conveyed the value of them, I'm big on taking accountability for everything, then they're not going to see the value in the first part of the service we offer, and they're not going to want to put their time or money into it, right? So then I was thinking, well, how do I help clients value the up-to-date, accurate accounting records. And so that led me to thinking about a client that I know does value it, right? Like heaps of clients I know. But I thought of one client in particular, and I met him, gosh, it was ages ago. Like I feel like he might have been a client now for 7 years or so. And 7 years ago we met, and he's got like a business that sells similar to hardware, and he's got other businesses as well. He's a really savvy entrepreneur. And so we met about 7 years ago, and the bookkeeping done for the hardware store was up to date, but he couldn't get, the real-time numbers that he wanted at his fingertips at all times. And this is a smart, savvy, successful business owner that knows that having those up-to-date, accurate, real-time numbers, like in-depth real-time numbers at your fingertips is, pillar one for success. So he knows this, right? So he values it. So when he engaged us, we jumped in, we figured out, all of the different problems, and then I had to say to him, look, I can absolutely do all of this for you, but not at the fee that the old bookkeeper was charging, which the old bookkeeper in effect was charging him for a punch in the face. Because if you are paying a lesser fee for bookkeeping which is not up to date and accurate, and therefore your numbers aren't real time and in your pocket, therefore you can't make good business decisions, versus a little bit more for the outcome, well then you're paying to not get the outcome. So I call it you're paying for a punch in the face. So I thought about that client, and I thought about he really wasn't price focused, okay? And look, we have a price guarantee. If you can find our same service elsewhere cheaper, we will beat it. That said, it is really hard to find, we believe we offer a platinum level of service unmatched by any other. We also understand that it's really important to be competitive. So we actually do have a full price guarantee for peace of mind, okay? So we don't charge like a massive premium just to be awesome and amazing, yeah? But in this case, this client was not focused on us being, cheaper than the last bookkeeper or even the same fee as the last bookkeeper. He was focused on getting the ideal service and outcome that he needed to find success in his business at a budgeted price. And a budgeted price is something that I understand, right? Because in a business, all of your expenses should be a specific percentage of turnover. And this business owner, this entrepreneur knows that as well. So he was never going to pay too much for bookkeeping. And I don't suggest that you ever pay too much for bookkeeping, right? However, it is important to budget for having your business financial records kept up to date and accurate at all times, just like you budget for wages and advertising and electricity and rent and everything else. Now I see this tale of two clients all the time. Yeah. So we see the clients who first of all value up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping records as number one. Then we see the clients who then are accountable to the numbers and the decisions they need to make. And the longer we work with a client strategically, the deeper we're able to go. Okay, for example, one of the clients I've worked strategically with for a few years now who is just absolutely killing it. I mean, we dive into the critical drivers of profit, the critical drivers of cash flow, so that we're able to identify risks and then mitigate those risks with improvements in procedures. And all of this is pretty kind of linear, step-by-step, back-office administration stuff, right? And so by valuing those numbers, we're able to work with him to continue to go from strength to strength in his business. And that is a tale of, a client who gets it, yeah? Successful business owners know their numbers, and he knows his. And yet we get the business owners who want to focus on revenue. And I've done other podcasts on this. Focusing on revenue as the one thing that will fix everything is the fast track to failure. Okay. So now I want to really summarize what I'd really like, the action I'd like you to take from this podcast. I've done this podcast episode to speak to an audience or members of the audience that might be still resisting the value of up-to-date, accurate accounting records. Yeah? And I'm speaking to you in order to help you do better in business. The information I've shared with you in this episode, it's not grey, it's not subjective, it's very black and white. And it's one of the things I love about accounting and bookkeeping. You know, you're making money, you're losing money. Your rent's perfect as a percentage of turnover or it's high. Your cost of sales are too high, they're low or they're correct. You're on benchmark profit or you're not, right? It's all very black and white. There's no arguing that up-to-date, accurate accounting records are or are not pillar one for the success of every business, because they simply are. So if I was suggesting action, I think the first thing would be the mindset. The first thing would be to value up-to-date, accurate accounting records. The second thing would be to budget for that being done. And I'll rinse and repeat and say, I don't do my own bookkeeping. I am not the plumber with the leaky taps. I have it all done for me, and then I attend a virtual CFO meeting monthly with someone who runs through my numbers, and I try to take my bookkeeper hat off and put my client hat on so that I can be a little more objective as well. But I run my business like I recommend every entrepreneur runs their business. So yeah, definitely step one, mindset, value the up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping. Step two, budget for it. And we would absolutely like to provide you with what that budget looks like. So feel free to reach out and we'll tell you what that looks like, and there is no obligation. You can go away, talk to other bookkeepers. Like I said, we have a full price and service guarantee. We have a money back service guarantee. So that would be step two, budget for the bookkeeping. Step three, I think just get started. Once you've done those two things, get started. And then step four, oh my goodness, absolutely lean into strategic bookkeeping. When you start using those numbers, to optimize your profit and cash, you will make more than you spend on the bookkeeping. That is the best part of it all, right? Apart from the good night's sleep it'll give you as well. So before we wrap up, I will remind you that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If I have helped just one business owner out there with this podcast, I have absolutely done my job today.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes. If you'd like to know how I can help you do better in business, you know where to find me, betterinbusiness.global. See you in the next episode.